I'm Joan Steffen.
And I'm Kevin McDowell. Coming up tonight on News 11, a softball team finds inspiration and commits itself to winning after an opposing player dies from being hit by lightning. We'll have that.
And we'll see why this man is smiling and getting ready to see the mountains.
Also tonight, all the day's fun on Mother's Day.
And later on News 11 Extra, we begin a 5-part series on little people with 3 little whippersnappers who are keeping their folks on their toes.
News 11 is next.
From the Twin Cities Action Center, News 11, your new choice for news. With Kevin McDowell, Joan Steffen, Randy Shaver on sports, and meteorologist Barry Finn.
Good evening, everybody. Topping tonight's News 11, inspiration from tragedy.
A softball team is dedicating its efforts for a team who lost a player today.
Daryl Scoia died this morning from internal injuries he received yesterday at Lake Nokomis. His softball team was playing when a lightning storm came up and sent teams running for cover. A bit later, lightning hit a tree, seriously injuring Scoia and hurting 5 others. As Melissa Young reports, it was an incident that inspired action.
Come on, Fergie. Start it out now. Start it out now. Oh!
The guys from Jimmy's Steaks and Spirits played inspired softball today, winning the weekend tournament at Lake Nokomis. The inspiration came from tragedy, and it sparked another inspiration to share their victory.
Well, yesterday after the accident that happened, we decided that we were going to dedicate the tournament, winning the trophy, to the people from Lee's Lawn Service.
Can you feel pain in your legs? You feel
Yeah,
numbness?
they're just numb.
Jimmy's had been playing the team from Lee's Lawn Service yesterday when a freak lightning strike sent 8 of Lee's players to the hospital, killing Daryl Scoia. The team had been taking shelter from the rain under a tree. So had Jimmy's team. And Jimmy's players say they know the lightning could just as easily have struck down their team.
They're just caught up in a real bad set of circumstances, and we'd like to do what we could hopefully make them feel a little less devastated by the loss that they suffered.
Jimmy's players say they all plan to take CPR courses right away. Even though CPR could not save Daryl Scoia, it might prevent another tragedy from happening in the future. Melissa Young, News 11.
3 of the people injured yesterday were released from Hennepin County Medical Center tonight. 2 other men are in satisfactory condition and may be released tomorrow.
FAA investigators are looking for the cause of a single-engine plane crash that claimed 3 lives of Minnesotans. It went down in a cotton field in Covington, Tennessee. Dead, 63-year-old Robert Samadi, his wife Jean, and their son Richard, all from Wilmer. And witnesses say the plane appeared to come apart moments before the crash.
Went out the front door and looked up in the air, and it was a plane coming down, and it was tearing apart, and it was landing in the field over there.
It looked like it didn't have but one wing on it, and it was, the right-hand wing was pointed about 10 o'clock high, and it was just headed down. I mean, just really real fast rate. Looked more like a rocket than an airplane.
The family was on its way from St. Joseph, Missouri to Tallahassee, Florida. Although the cause hasn't been determined, authorities do say there were reports of heavy thunderstorms in that area that the plane went down. In St. Paul tonight, homicide investigators are working on the case of a 3-year-old boy who fell to his death out of a 7th-floor window. He apparently climbed out of the window at the YWCA because he was afraid of the boogeyman. He and his mother were staying at that shelter. The youth have removed the screen and crawled outside. It happened late Friday. The child was pronounced dead early yesterday after being rushed to St. Paul Ramsey. Another accident out at Canterbury Downs Racetrack. Last night, a worker, Tom Corcoran, fell 20 feet off a scaffolding to the cement below. He's in serious condition with head injuries tonight. 2 months ago, 1 worker was killed and 2 injured when that scaffolding collapsed.
At this moment, firefighters in Burnsville are on the scene of a potentially dangerous warehouse fire. The fire at Paul's Furniture Outlet on Highway 13 was reported about 7:30 tonight. These live pictures show that the battle goes on to save the estimated $1 million worth of inventory stored inside the building. Earlier tonight, when fire officials first arrived, they noticed that the sprinkler system was working, but they're concerned about the roof caving in and haven't been able to get inside to fight the fire or to see what's been lost. News 11 is on the scene, and we will have an update for you if it becomes necessary. There have been no injuries so far. A lot of questions are being asked in Bradford, England tonight. Questions into why a grandstand at a soccer stadium burned to the ground, killing 52 and injuring 200 others. Today, investigators continue to sift through the ashes to try and find out what happened. It took only 4 minutes for yesterday's fireball to engulf the grandstand and send 3,000 panicked fans running for safety. The investigation will continue for a while, and in the meantime, calls for improved safety measures at old stadiums throughout England. Closer to home, an investigation is underway into why fire destroyed an abandoned warehouse in St. Paul last night. It took firemen 4 hours to get that blaze under control. Today, the warehouse was just a pile of rubble, and even though fire investigators are just starting to look for a cause, they still have suspicions that the fire may have been set. The St. Paul City Council will be deciding what to do with the railroad property in a month or so.
Well, the man who spent the last 6 years in prison for a rape that his accuser says never happened is a free man tonight. Gary Dotson's sentence was commuted today by Illinois Governor James Thompson.
I therefore commute his sentence to the time he has served.
Dotson smiled when Thompson announced that decision, but Dotson says he's still not satisfied. That's because Thompson would not grant a full pardon, saying he believes after 3 days of hearings that Dotson's accuser, Kathy Webb, was raped. But Dotson says he'll shoot for a full pardon.
All along, we knew he'd come through with this because more or less they can't say that I'm innocent because it would make the system look so bad. And in effect, it had hurt many proceedings in the system.
Dotson added that he's going to Colorado to see the mountains.
Well, with a happy Mother's Day for more than just Gary Dotson's mom today, all over 11 country, the best moms in the land got what they deserved, and that was very noticeable at almost every restaurant in the area, as anxious young sons and daughters got mom out of the kitchen and spent all their money in their piggy banks. Well, for those of us who couldn't be with mom on her day today, the phone was just a ring away.
Hi, will you pay for a collect call from Karen? Thank you.
So far today, AT&T says it has handled an estimated 22.5 million calls. Not all the calls were to moms, but you can bet a good majority of them were. Mother's Day is the 3rd busiest phone day of the year. A lot of the calls going out to moms today were coming from the Sperry Corporation. Amy Powell explains.
Oh, good morning. Happy Mother's Day.
Hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Sperry employees were given 10 minutes to make that all-important call to Mom or other special people anywhere in the country. Many brought their entire families along to send their greetings. Along with their calls home to Mom, a lot of people found time to talk to grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and even godmothers. But sons and daughters weren't the only ones doing the calling.
Well, this is Mom calling, honey, and just wanted to let you know how much I appreciated that gorgeous, gorgeous bouquet you sent me. It's one of the prettiest I've ever seen.
For some of the youngsters, however, the telephone apparently wasn't a satisfactory way to talk to Grandma.
Jennifer's here. She's fine with her tuna teeth. Maybe she'll say hi to you just a second. Say hi!
And with a 10-minute limit, some came up with creative methods to make the most of the time.
Here, you want to talk to Mom? I'll call you again sometime. Don't hang up, though. Mary's going to talk. Hi.
Hi, Grandma.
In addition to the phone calls, an intimate brunch for 3,000 was served. But it was obvious that the highlight of the day was the chance to span the miles and say, I love you, Mom. Amy Powell, News 11, Egan.
And here's another great story on this Mother's Day for a Bloomfield, Connecticut mom. Today she brought home her baby that no one said was going to live. Catherine Finn gave birth to 1 pound, 1 ounce Jessica on December 27th. Today Jessica came home weighing 4 pounds, 12.5 ounces. What a better way for a Mother's Day gift than a new baby. At Abbott Northwestern Hospital today, 5 little ones were born. Now 2 of the mothers already know what it's all about. One has 4 kids, the other has 3. The names, by the way, of the babies are Rachel, Jessica, Ira, and Tiffany.
And how about a mom who hasn't named her babies yet? That's probably because she has 15 of them to name. Meet Rashian, a golden retriever who will have her paws full when these little guys open their eyes and can see mischief. Now, this is what you call real puppy love. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Still coming on News 11 tonight. How does America feel about crime? We'll find out.
And the Pope runs into trouble in liberal Netherlands.
And later on News 11 Extra, the terrible 2s multiplied by 3. We begin our special series, Baby Love, with a look at triplets, coming up on the Extra.
One thing many of us will face in our lifetime is crime. We will either be the victims of or know someone who is a victim of crime. So how does America feel about crime? Well, a News 11 USA Today poll is out tonight and has some answers. First, 71% of those surveyed say more money must be spent on police, courts, and jails to reduce crime. 78% say the courts are more concerned about protecting the rights of criminals than victims. In rating the criminal justice system, only 14% rated their local police as excellent. 5% said their local courts were excellent. And in every case, by a 2-to-1 margin, men said they feel safer than women.
Topping Datelines tonight from News 11, open hostility to the Pope in Holland. In fact, Pope John Paul has never encountered the widespread violence and anger that he has in Holland. The Pope seemed not to notice shouts of go away from the crowd of thousands, or the cans and bottles thrown at the Pope-mobile. Most of the people in the crowd were described as radicals, homosexuals, and disillusioned Catholics. And in the Mideast, little progress to report from Secretary of State George Shultz's visit. Schultz met with Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres this morning, but couldn't get him to agree to talk with any Palestinians remotely connected with the PLO. And now it looks like the PLO is toughening its stance toward talks with Israel. And in Dallas today, a hero's welcome for 55-year-old Dick Bass, the oldest man to climb the world's highest mountain, Mount Everest. After 4 years and 4 attempts on the mountain, Bass finally made it to the top on April 30th. Next on Dick Bass's agenda, running the New York Marathon and sailing the 7 seas.
When I'm 55, I'll be lucky to be on life support, you know. That was very good weather today. I mean, a little windy, a little nippy, but it wasn't like yesterday when we had the threatening weather.
At least it was an improvement, as you said.
Yes.
But, you know, you kind of get the feeling that when it's real cloudy and cool like today, that should be a crime on Mother's Day, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I hope everybody, including Joan, had a good Mother's Day.
Wonderful.
That's good. Well, the weather is going to turn a little bit nicer for tomorrow, but I'm afraid it's downhill from that point on. Let's take a look at today, because it was an uphill battle, and we fought all day long, finally, to struggle and break into the 60s. We did it. 62 was the high. The lows are current reading of 53, 2/100 of an inch of moisture. Sunrise and sunset for tomorrow are right there. 8:33 is the sunset time. Days continue to get longer. Clear skies, 53 right now. Southwest winds at 9 miles per hour. The dew point, 45, and the humidity, 74%. Pressure is rising at 29.88 inches. Take a look at current conditions around 11 country. 53 in the cities, 44 at International Falls. Certainly a much cooler evening than we've had over the last 2 weeks. You can see the warm weather, though, still off to the east, St. Louis, and as you head toward the Ohio Valley up the Mid-Atlantic states and Northeast, they've got the warm weather. The cool weather continues to filter on. Already some showers starting to show up over the extreme southwest corner of Nebraska. That is something that's going to be in our forecast as we get along into it. Let's take a look at the satellite photograph. You can see a lot of clear skies over much of Minnesota. The clouds still lingering over the northern part, though. That's the departing storm system. But you notice this little streak of clouds here? Now, if I move away, you see a bigger blob of clouds, and that's coming toward us, and that is going to take us back downhill by tomorrow afternoon. Look at these right down here, bright white tops. Let's take a closer look at those. And those are huge thunderstorms. In fact, a tornado watch in effect for much of Texas and Oklahoma until midnight. Oklahoma City had softball-size hail. Now, can you imagine that? Softballs that big? That is absolutely football helmet weather when you get that. Fortunately, that severe weather will stay off to the east. Some more heavy thunderstorms across the Ohio Valley and up into Pennsylvania. Well, by tomorrow, here comes that storm system, and it's going to spread northeastward, bring rain into our forecast for tomorrow. I'll tell you all about that after we take a look at these messages.
You make your own pizza, Tombstone.
It's a ladle on and loaded up with lots of mozzarella on the pizza, Tombstone. We pile on the goodness, we're loaded with real cheese. We're sure the taste of Tombstone's gonna please your family. We're a small-town, homegrown, made the way you make your own pizza, Tombstone. Made the way you'd make your very own, Tombstone.
Store A argues that because they buy building supplies by the trailer load, they can give you a better deal. Store B argues that because they buy building supplies by the truckload, they can give you a better deal. But Knox buys building supplies by the train load. And who's going to argue with a train?
80,000 landscape logs on sale now.
29th anniversary savings from Towsley Ford. Only the incredible buying and selling power of the Northland's #1 dealer make low payments like these possible. Escorts, 100 Escorts, anniversary priced, lease for as low as $99 a month. Rangers, over 100 Ranger pickups. The same price, a low $99 a month, and they're brand new. Sale prices on 1,200 cars and trucks as we head for 1,000 sales in May. Never has it been more worth your trip to Towsley Ford Subaru, White Bear Lake.
Water. Deep, sparkling Minnesota water. 37,000 years pure. Nature's finest hops and grains from the richest earth on earth. Schmidt beer. The brew that grew to be best in the great Northwest. And there's not a better taste in the world.
Well, if you've had your windows open the last several days, and if you didn't close them during the day today, you may want to do that after the news, because we are going to have clear and cool conditions overnight tonight. The forecast calls for exactly that, clear and cool conditions. Temperatures by daybreak, 43 to 48. Winds west dying down finally, 10 to 14. Some sun tomorrow, but look for increasing clouds. I think we'll see some showers arriving by tomorrow evening, 67 to 72. Showers and thunderstorms overnight tomorrow in through Tuesday. Some of it could come down rather heavy. Highs on Tuesday, 58. Wednesday, it should clear back out at 64. Some more showers and thunderstorms on Thursday, 70 degrees. A stormy pattern and definitely a cooler pattern.
Softball size hail.
Can you imagine getting hit in the head with a softball hail?
By the way, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Barry. Down Kentucky way tonight, a little something for those of us with unconventional musical tastes.
A hospital bedpan and play it as a steel guitar. It sounded terrible, but I figure eventually he probably made a bread slicer out of it.
Those are the sounds coming from musicians at the Strange Music Fest in Oliver Hall, Kentucky this weekend. Weird sounds came from strange instruments and even hands.
Thank you.
They say the only requirement is to get into the fest is a lack of pride, and I can sort of understand.
Certainly understand that one. Yes, sirree. Still coming on News 11. A tense week on tap for lawmakers. We'll have a preview.
And look out, cowpokes. Here comes Rustler's Rhapsody. We'll preview that.